here with another video. Now let's talk about Derek Chisora, who recently just come off a win over David Price this weekend, knocking him out in the fourth round. The fight was stopped after the towel was thrown in. David Price knocked down in the fourth round, and he got up, but it wasn't looking very good for him. You know, I thought Chisora was probably going to stretch him out if they allowed that fight to continue. So good work from the corner team there. They looked after David Price's best interests. And sometimes, you know, a fighter just needs saving from themselves, because David Price would have went out on his shield if he could. But, you know, who really wants to see that now? I mean, David Price, he's had a good career, but, you know, we don't really want to see him in these fights really. Well, I don't anyway. I don't really want to see David Price in these fights anymore. Like, he's suffered knockout defeats now against too many people. Like, I think that's his 7th defeat now. And, you know, with brain injuries and everything going on in the sport of boxing, we've just seen what's happened with Patrick Day a few weeks back. Like, this is a very serious thing. And I don't know. I just don't really want to see David Price in the ring anymore, because what's he going to achieve now at 36 years old? I mean, could he get the British title? Probably, but who holds the British title? Daniel Dubois. So you'd have to wait for Dubois to really give that up, to really fight for it again. And, like, it's just, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, you've had a good career. Now it's purely for the money, isn't it? So I'd like to see David Price just go out and just enjoy the fruits and labours of a good career. Maybe, you know, do some boxing in Liverpool, like with some of the kids down there. I'm sure he'd be well respected amongst his peers. And he's a very bright man, David Price. So, you know, I wish you all the best for him. But I probably don't, I don't know. I don't think I really want to see David Price in the ring again. But that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, that is not the context of this video today. I wanted to talk about Derek Chisora and what's next for him. So Chisora obviously was supposed to fight Joseph Parker. Parker pulled out, as you guys know, after he was bit allegedly by a spider. And, you know, he's come out and recently said that he still wants to fight Chisora, but he just wasn't available to fight on the 26th of October. So what do you guys think about it? Chisora has also called out Usyk. He said that he'd like to fight Usyk as well. Usyk made his heavyweight debut a couple of weeks ago against Chaz Witherspoon, and you know, a routine win for him. It didn't even feel like a heavyweight fight, because Witherspoon, who was a late replacement, didn't really offer much, let's be honest. So the question marks are still out there for Alexander Usyk at heavyweight, and what better way to answer some of those questions by going up against Derek Chisora? I think that's a good fight. I think that's, if I had the choice between Joseph Parker and Alexander Usyk to face Derek Chisora next, I would like to see Chisora fight Usyk. Like, I'd like that fight, because Usyk, like, we're all intrigued as to how he's going to go on at heavyweight. We all want to know how he's going to fight against, like, the top guys, like the Furies, the Wilders, the Joshuas, and so on, the Ruizes. But, you know, we need to see how he does settle at heavyweight first. You know, to go up against those guys straight away, I'm not sure if that's such a good idea. We need to know if he can take a punch at heavyweight. We need to see how he gets on with these bigger men. And I know that he's fought a heavyweight in the amateurs. I know that he's fought Joe Joyce already. But, you know, I want to see how he gets on in the professional ranks, you know, against somebody like Chisora, who is going to steamroll into him and bring the heat. You know, he's going to do what he did against David Price to Usyk. He's not going to stand outside and let Usyk box him. He's going to go in there and rough him up and see if he can really handle a heavyweight punch power. And Chisora has some serious power in those hands. So I'd like to see that fight. I think it's a great fight. Usyk has boxed over here in the UK before. Chisora is a household name amongst the UK fans now. I think it's a big fight. I think it's a better fight than the Parker fight, if I'm honest. I wouldn't mind seeing that as well. But if I had the choice, I'd like to see Usyk against Chisora. So Chisora has called him out. I'm sure Usyk will take it if he had the opportunity, but he's looking at it now like he's the #1 in the WBO. He's going to wait and see who wins out of Ruiz and Joshua. But in the meantime, as a filler, why don't you fight Derek Chisora? Like, I think that's a good fight. So it would answer a few questions as well as to how Usyk handles a real heavyweight, because Chisora is a real heavyweight who is on a sort of resurgence now in his late age. He's really coming into form right now, Derek Chisora, being managed by David Haye. He is starting to make a lot of moves now in boxing. He did well against Dillian Whyte before he got knocked out. Some people thought he believed Dillian Whyte the first time. And yeah, I just think I'd like to see it. I'd just like to see how Usyk gets on with somebody like Chisora. Now, he could box his ears off. Like, I'm not saying that that can't happen. He could do it. But it's an entertaining fight. It's one that intrigues the fight fans. It would sell well over here. So, I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. I'd like to see Derek Chisora and Alexander Usyk face each other. Will it happen? Could happen. Like, it's not out of the realms of the possibility of it happening. Eddie Hearn has stated that he wanted to do a heavyweight show in late January, February, maybe February. These two guys have fought not long away from each other, so they both will get significant rest. and they'll both like to get it on. So interesting fight, man. Another fight that was mentioned was Chisora against Big Baby Miller. Now, Chisora even hinted that he'd like to fight Big Baby Miller on a Saudi card on December 7th, where Joshua takes on Ruiz, but that's not going to happen. But that's also an interesting fight. You know, Big Baby Miller, he's a talker. Derek Chisora, we know what he's about. That would be a very interesting press conference between those two. You need some real heavy security in there to split those two up. But I think in the ring it's a good fight as well. Like, they're both pressure fighters as heavyweight. Like, Jerome Miller likes to come forward and he likes to throw a lot of punches. Chisora likes to go forward as well. So that's a very good fight as well. But, you know, we yet to see what's going to happen with Jerome Miller, who he's going to sign with. Apparently it could be Top Rank. But I don't know. Chisora and Usyk make sense for me over Parker. But if the Parker fight was made, I wouldn't be too disappointed, to be honest. But I'm more intrigued about Usyk against Chisora. That's just my personal opinion. But let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section below. Who would you like to see Derek Chisora fight next? Would you like to see him fight Usyk, Parker, Big Baby Miller? Let me know. And for David Price, let me know your thoughts on that as well. Like, what would you like next for him? Do you think that he should retire, or do you think that he should carry on fighting, but maybe like at a lower level? But yeah, let me know your thoughts on it, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.